Hello, welcome back. It's really good. It's really good to see you and really good to have you. I am very excited to talk to you today because we are talking about a topic that is just like it. I would say it's near and dear to my heart, but it is my heart. Like, it's the whole thing. It's just all of it. We're talking about Disney World. Yay! As you probably know, if you follow me on social media, I, first of all, would just like to apologize for the excessive Disney spam that you just had to encounter. But yes, my fiance and I recently went on a 8-day vacation to Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida, and it was honestly, it was the best vacation I think I've ever had. I've never been to Disney World. I am a huge Disney fan, just didn't quite grow up with Disney World money, and it's a financial investment to have a vacation there. And so I was very lucky. My partner is the best and she spoils me, and we went on a vacation with our best friends. And so I wanted to talk to you about that vacation because I learned a lot, I experienced a lot, and in case you too are planning a vacation or you just want to talk Disney World, because I also understand that, we can do all of that today. So if you stick around, I've got some notes and I'm ready to go. So what I've decided to do, because talking about Disney World in its entirety, there are so many things that one can discuss, and I thought it would be best to avoid just really long videos, to break them up into 2 videos. So for today's video, I'm going to talk food, praise. Food is the main, food and Disney World, they're all one and the same. We're gonna talk food and we're gonna talk rides. I'm so stoked. In the next video, I will talk about parks and tips and tricks, which is going to be a really fun video too, because I learned a whole heck of a lot while we were there, and I'm really excited to talk to you about those things as well. But I had to start it off with my favorite topic, which is desserts. So here we go. All right, so I wanted to start with the top 5 things I ate in Disney World in its entirety. And I ate a lot, okay? I made it my personal goal and conviction and testimony to research actually as much as I could before this trip. I'm telling you, when I say that I watched YouTube video after YouTube video on food at Disney World, I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot, probably upwards of like 10 to 20 hours. We went on this trip with our best friends, Casey and Wells, and I probably sent Casey like menus upon menus of food. So I definitely made it my sole purpose to try as many things as I could, which brings me to my first thing. If you can avoid being super dead set on having breakfast, lunch, dinner in like hefty meals, and you can take the time to really snack in Disney World, I highly recommend doing that. Obviously, it's important to have a good breakfast to start your day out with something of substance so you're not completely dead by the middle of the day. But when I tell you you're going to want to try so many things, you will. And certainly your eyes are bigger than your stomach. Melanie and I saved so much money because we were constantly snacking on things. It helped me not have stomach aches all throughout the day, which if anyone else has IBS, you know the struggle. Snacking equals the Bible. Just putting that out there. So the top 5 things I ate, I have to start at number 5. Oh, so the very first day we were in Disney World, I just kind of decided to start it off with a bang, and I was able, by the grace of God himself, to get a reservation at Be Our Guest in Magic Kingdom. And oh my gosh, this restaurant deserves like a whole video in and of itself. It is, if you are a fan of Beauty and the Beast, I cried at least 4 times. Like, I'm not joking. I cried so many times. The interior of the restaurant is Beast Castle. So the rooms are all themed from the movie. It just feels like you're truly there. On the inside of the restaurant, you have this beautiful grand ballroom where Beauty and the Beast took their first dance, and the windows in the ballroom are enormous, and it's always snowing, dark and snowing in the ballroom, and beautiful. And I loved that part about it, that we could go in the middle of the day when it's blazing and so sunny, and I can go into this air-conditioned space and feel like I am truly there in a beautiful winter night. That restaurant alone, I would give solid 100 out of 10. It is a prefixed meal right now, so that means that you are getting 3 courses and they are all at a set price, which honestly, given the price of what you spend in a Disney World sit-down restaurant, it wasn't breaking the bank. I mean, it was a pretty, I would say, normal price from what we spent in other restaurants. The top 5 thing that I ate was the filet mignon at Be Our Guest. Oh my Lanta. One of the best steaks I've ever had in my entire life. Oh my gosh. They serve the steak on like a bed of seasonal vegetables. And usually when I read that on a menu, I'm kind of expecting like kind of frozen, like just subpar vegetables, because who really wants to eat vegetables at Disney World? But I'm telling you, I ate every vegetable on my plate. It was so good. It also had this wonderful like mashed potato spread underneath the filet. The filet was so tender. It had the best flavor. 10 out of 10, top 5 thing that I ate for sure. Coming in at number 4 for the best things that I ate, oh my gosh, were the cookies at Gideons Bakehouse in Disney Springs, but specifically they had a cookie that was a peanut butter espresso pecan situation. Oh my God. That particular cookie was a specialty cookie. I believe they have a special cookie at least once a month. So unfortunately that cookie will change out, so you may not get it when you go. But seriously, the best cookie I've ever had. This bakehouse is in Disney Springs, which is kind of like a downtown Disney feel. It's a big shopping center. If you're staying on property at Disney, you will always have a Disney bus that can take you to this area. So it's really great on nights when you don't want to venture back out into the parks. You can go to Disney Springs. They have a plethora, so many restaurants, shopping experiences, both Disney themed and not Disney. So you just kind of feel like you have a lot of options. With that said, this bakery is fairly new and has the most beautiful theming. It looks like a spooky kind of old like vintage vibe. When you walk in, you really feel like you're kind of in a haunted house and you're about to also eat the best cookies that you've ever had in your life. So it's a really interesting experience. Their cookies are all, their cookies are all half a pound. Every cookie is half a pound. So when I tell you it is truly a hockey puck size that's almost as big as my face, yes, they're heavy. You're going to feel like you have weapons on your hands. It's amazing. I cannot talk better things about these cookies. They are gooey. They're also cakey and just so indulgent. You will want to probably share a cookie with at least 1 to 2 other people. It's a treat. I will prepare you that this restaurant is very high demand. So if you are wanting a cookie from this place, it would probably be in your best interest to try to go on a day that's not a weekend. There is a virtual queue to get in and look at all of these cookies. They really make it an experience. So basically you will put your name in a virtual wait list, and that wait list is usually around 2 hours. if not more. If you're lucky, it could be less than 2 hours, but at least it's very convenient because you can put your name on this virtual wait list and go shop. And I don't know about you, but 2 hours shopping time is like, we could do that in our sleep. So it was a very nice experience that we could put our name in at this bakery, go shop, buy some Disney stuff, and then come back and pick out the cookie of a lifetime. What's better than that? Coming in at number 3, I have to go with the Creme Brulee Beignet at Epcot in the France Pavilion. If you like creme brulees and you like beignets and you like donuts, it is like all of those things just came together and just made the perfect child, the angel that you need in your life. Where to even start? Okay, so first of all, this item is something that I believe is part of the Epcot Flower and Garden Festival. So I'm not sure if it's something that you can really get once the Flower and Garden Festival is over. But if you are happening to like be somehow in Disney World for the Flower and Garden Festival, you have to go to the France Pavilion and try this beignet. Oh my God. So yes, it's a cream-filled donut that the filling tastes 100% like any creme brulee I've ever had. It's amazing. It was very flavorful. It was very indulgent. And so you have that in the donut, but then on the top is just this perfectly crystallized caramel sugar. And when I tell you, like, you know how in a creme brulee, you can take your little spoon and just like crack the top? You could do that with this donut as well. Like, every time I would take a bite, I would get a bite of that airy donut with the like indulgent creme brulee filling and then the crisp crunch of that caramelized sugar on top. Oh, so good. Okay, so I feel a little bit bad because the last two things that I've talked about, the peanut butter espresso cookie from Gideons and the creme brulee beignet, those are both specialty items that you cannot get all the time. And so I am going to give you as my number 2 favorite thing that I ate, an item that you can get anytime, any day. And it is also the first drink that I am telling you about. And it is the drink. If you go to Disney World, please try this. I'm telling you, if you have any drink, you have to have this one. And I'm giving it to the Night Blossom. This drink is available in Animal Kingdom in Pandora, which I arguably would say Pandora is one of my favorite areas in any of the parks, like at all in Disney World. Pandora is a masterpiece. It is an place where you walk in and you just feel small in the best way. It allows you to truly appreciate everything around you and just take a deep breath and just feel so relaxed and so happy and excited. I can't really explain the feelings that I got when I was in Pandora, but in and of itself, just an amazing area in the Animal Kingdom. So the Night Blossom is essentially a pear slushie and an apple slushie swirled together. And then on the top, you get this amazing like passion fruit popping boba. Oh my gosh, it is so refreshing. It is so delicious. I don't think I've ever really had many things that were pear flavored before this. And I for sure haven't had a pear and apple flavor together in a frozen beverage. So, I mean, this flavor combo was just the most refreshing thing. And on a day when it's super hot and you just are feeling really cranky and you need like a little bit of a sugar fix, highly recommend. And if you're over 21 and you're feeling a little feisty, I would highly suggest upgrading your Night Blossom to a Rum Blossom. It is exactly what you would think it is. The same drink, yeah, a little rum. So you just can't go wrong. The drink's beautiful. It'll make a great Instagram moment, but it'll also have a time in your heart and you'll remember it every day and want one anytime and every day. So you're welcome. Coming in at number 1, the best thing that I ate at Disney World. And I feel like some of you are gonna be like, you sure? Are you sure? I'm very sure. And it's so funny because Melanie and I, we like a lot of the same things, but we also favor different types of like flavor profiles. Like I'm more of a sweet, like sugar forward flavored person, and she likes more of the savory things. But we come to an agreement on this food. The best thing that we had in Walt Disney World were the cheeseburger egg rolls in Magic Kingdom. The spring rolls, they were just, this cart is a little bit outside of Adventureland right now. And if you can find the cheeseburger spring roll cart, you gotta stop. And I know it's $9. It's $9.50 for 2 spring rolls, which is blasphemy. But when you try these spring rolls, you'd be willing to pay double. You really would. They offer the spring rolls in a cheeseburger flavor and also a pepperoni pizza flavor. And Melanie and I, when we first tried them, you can obviously get a combination of 2, or you can pick, you know, 1 flavor and have 2 of those. So we decided to try to venture out and try both. And it was a resounding vote that this cheeseburger spring roll just was our favorite. I don't know how else or what else to really say about it. It's exactly what it sounds like. It is everything that you would want in a really good cheeseburger wrapped in a spring roll and deep fried. And they have a dipping sauce for your pizza spring roll and your cheeseburger spring roll. The dipping sauce for the cheeseburger spring roll, oh my gosh, I could drink that. I could drink the sauce. Oh, and I want some now. It was our favorite thing. So if you go, please be a spy and spot that cart, because it's small, it's not big. But I'm telling you, if you find it, you will also find a line of people ready to partake in the same delicious moment as you. So those were the 5 things that I just needed to really talk to you about in specifics, but there are a little more on the food topic before I move on to rides. And I wanted to also mention something that I didn't really know as a person who's not super experienced in going to Disney World. There are 4 parks in Disney World. You've got Magic Kingdom, you've got Animal Kingdom, you've got Epcot, and you've got Hollywood Studios. And Epcot is a park that is just all about food. It's amazing. You can try truly food from all around the world. Something that I didn't know when I first started learning about Disney World is Epcot often has festivals. So every year around the spring and summertime, they have their Flower and Garden Festival. And then in the summer to like fall time, it is the Food and Wine Festival. So usually whenever you book a trip to Disney World, you most likely will be experiencing a festival in Epcot while you're there. So definitely try to kind of keep up with the Disney news for your trip dates, because more often than not, you're going to have a festival. And with any Epcot festival comes additional food like the Creme Brulee Beignet that they don't have all the time. And you really want to try this food because it is different, it is amazing, and it's also convenient because of how they do the festivals. They often have like separate booths set up for festival season. So when you're walking around the World Showcase, which is like all the little countries and all those little pavilions in Epcot, the little stalls are right on the main walkways. So they're very accessible. You can kind of snack and grab things and try just like a plethora of things that you would never get if it wasn't for that particular festival. Okay. So while these didn't make the top 5 of my favorite foods, I have a couple of food items, snacks, meals that I wanted to give honorable mentions to. The very first honorable mention is it's another cheeseburger item, but I just like cheeseburgers. This little snack that is just delightful is also in Animal Kingdom, and it is in the Pandora area in Animal Kingdom, and it's the cheeseburger pods. So we went from cheeseburger spring rolls to cheeseburger pods, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It is a cheeseburger wrapped in this dome-like sphere. It's delightful. It is such a fun, like wholesome, childlike experience when you're eating it, because you feel like you're taking something that you've eaten a million times and you're making it fun. A lot of the food is like that in Pandora, and because of the whole like Na'vi, like tribal, like kind of, I don't know, sci-fi vibe of that area in the park, a lot of their food is going to mirror that experience. So the Night Blossom has the popping boba with the really big flavors. A lot of the food in Pandora is gonna have some type of a boba on top of it, which is very interesting. I've never had boba on top of like a savory food item before, which was such an interesting like experience. It just added a really like nice, fresh aspect to the dish, and I loved this meal. So another honorable mention that I cannot let you leave this video without hearing from me about are the margaritas at La Cava del Tequila in the Mexico Pavilion in Epcot. Oh my gosh, y'all. We had the blissful experience of being at Disney World for Cinco de Mayo. So we obviously decided that our park tickets for the day would be at Epcot so that we could go to Epcot, Mexico and get some margs and just have fun. This margarita line, I don't think I've ever stood in a line so long for margaritas. The line was insane, but well worth it. I can't talk enough praises over the drink selection. I didn't feel like I was drinking a theme park beverage. You know, a lot of the times when you get an alcoholic beverage at a theme park, it's a different experience than if you were to get that beverage at a really nice bar or, you know, a restaurant that you like. This experience was top tier. The margarita that I had was a pink popcorn margarita, and popcorn is one of my favorite foods. When I tell you I love popcorn, I really love popcorn. The base of the margarita was a little salty, a little sweet. My favorite thing though is they coated the rim in this like pink salty popcorn, and it was just the most amazing little experience. Myself, Casey, and Melanie all got margaritas there, and they were all different, but they all just had the best flavor. The alcohol content in the margaritas, they did not skip out on. I know that all of us just had one drink because we wanted to be mindful of the heat and the alcohol and the lack of hydration that we were probably having. And I will say, after my one margarita, Casey and I both, we were like, we're doing really well. The other thing that I really like about La Cava del Tequila is I don't know if you would really call it a restaurant, but where you enter in to order inside the bar area opens up to this really beautiful, kind of the same feel as what they did with Be Our Guest. They took this really big space and they added windows and effects to make you feel like you are in a Mexican market space at nighttime with like a bunch of stars and a lot of pretty lights. And so when you enter the bar area, you are able to order your drink, and then you can kind of roam around the rest of the restaurant, and it's set up like a market. So you can, you know, buy little food things, you can buy like little trinkets, but they also have this beautiful fountain area where you can sit down and just drink your marg, and it literally just looks like you're in Mexico on a starry night. It's beautiful. When you're there at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon and it's 100 degrees, it's nice to be in this space where you feel like it's 8 p.m. and you're just having the time of your life drinking a pink popcorn margarita. Realizing very quickly by how much I'm talking about all of these different snacks that I'm probably going to have to separate the food video in a video in and of itself. So I am sorry if you were wanting to hear rides at the end of this video. I think I'm just gonna say a few more things about the foods that I like and wrap it up, and we can talk rides in the next video. The next honorable mention, which is kind of funny, this is the first place in Hollywood Studios. Hollywood Studios in general is an amazing park, but it is definitely like the ride park. You will want to go to Hollywood Studios to experience all of the thrilling, fun, immersive rides. I can't wait to talk about rides in the next video because, I mean, Hollywood Studios just does it right. But I will say, as far as like the food in Hollywood Studios, I I wasn't wowed by a whole lot. Most of the food there is like your stereotypical theme park food. So a lot of like chicken nuggets and french fries and little burgers and things like that that are really easy to come by. Kids love it and it doesn't break the bank. But if you're like me and you can get chicken nuggets literally anywhere, you kind of want to try to find the things that are going to feel a little special. With that said, the one place in Hollywood Studios that I highly recommend if you're wanting to get like a quick little drink and a bite to eat is Baseline Tap House. And I think it's right off of like the Sunset Boulevard area. If you pull up your Disney Experience app, it'll show you exactly where it is. That app is my lifeline, and I still like look at the app when I'm not at Disney just to see where all of the restaurants are in Disney because I miss them. They have craft beer, so my fiance, she is a lover of craft brews, and when I first heard about this place before we went on our trip, I made sure to put a big note about it in bold because I wanted her to be able to have some food experiences that she really enjoyed while we were there. You walk in and it's very like earthy, you feel very casual and comfortable, and they have a good selection of craft beer. And I loved that you could get a little pretzel, and by little pretzel, it was actually a very ginormous pretzel with the most amazing beer cheese. If you know much about food at Walt Disney World, they do a lot of pretzels. They have a lot of cute little character pretzels all over the park, but this was hands down the best pretzel that I had in all of Disney World. It was just your standard, really fluffy, really warm, really big, just decadent soft pretzel, and that beer cheese, you just can't beat it. They also had a very good charcuterie board, especially for a theme park. I didn't have super high expectations for a charcuterie board, but let me tell you, between the pretzel, the beer, and the charcuterie, it was the perfect like lunchtime meal for us to share. And it was one of those meals where you left and you didn't feel completely weighed down for the rest of the day. It felt like we had just the right amount to kind of like keep us going. So if you are also a fan of breweries, then I would highly suggest going there and finding a little table to sit at and relax while you're in Hollywood Studios. So for my last honorable mention of the video, I have to close it out with the beauty and grace that is the bread pudding and the Polynesian Resort. This bread pudding is a masterpiece. I believe this bread pudding became super famous in the Ohana restaurant located inside of the Polynesian Resort. The Ohana restaurant has been closed ever since COVID. I think a lot of people were very sad that they could not get their hands on this bread pudding. So it came to my attention before our trip that in another cafe that is also located in the Polynesian Resort called Kona Cafe, they do have a secret menu of sorts. If you go to Kona Cafe, I highly recommend this restaurant in general. They had some of the best food that we had at Disney. I mean, the service, the food, the quality, the portions, everything was just amazing. Everything we loved, but this bread pudding was not on the menu. So you gotta ask for it specifically and you will be so glad that you did. And this is coming from somebody who's not a huge pineapple fan. Like, I love pineapple juice, but I'm not a huge fan of the pineapple, like of the texture of pineapple. I kind of feel the same way about coconut. I like the taste of coconut, but I don't love the texture of it. When I first heard about this pineapple bread pudding, I was just kind of like, it was amazing. It's this just huge, like, I don't even want to call it a slice. It's like a plane of just, it's its own demographic. It has its own area code. It's this huge slice of pineapple bread pudding that comes out so warm. They also bring out warm plates with the dessert, which is just such a nice touch. I think I've had that experience one other time where they brought out a warm plate with a warm dessert. The bread pudding is very decadent. It's fluffy, but it's also just, for lack of another word, I'm very sorry, it's very moist in the best way. And it comes with this cup of salted caramel sauce. Oh, the salted caramel sauce. I don't know. I've said a couple of times that I could drink a sauce in this video, but I think this would be the most drinkable sauce. This would be the most drinkable thing. They put a nice little scoop, nice big old scoop of vanilla ice cream on top, and then you just drench it in that hot caramel sauce. It comes like steaming to your table. Oh, if you can get all of that in one bite, it's the perfect bite. You won't find a more perfect bite in Disney World. If you happen to go to Kona Cafe, I highly recommend getting the sticky wings and pot stickers as a appetizer. Amazing. Yeah, the best sticky wings and also the best pot stickers I've ever had. And we eat a lot of pot stickers, Melanie and I. We like, between like gyoza, pot stickers, anything like that, we are always all about it. It's always, if it's available in an appetizer at a restaurant, we will be getting it. We got sushi for our main. And so if you are a fan of sushi, you gotta go. It's just, everything was fresh. The service, oh my gosh, our waitress was just the nicest ever. Highly recommend going to Kona Cafe at the Polynesian while on a day when you are going to be in Magic Kingdom. To get to the Polynesian Resort, you can get there from Magic Kingdom by the prettiest boat ride. And so it was just such a fun, romantic experience to like go outside of the park, hop on our boat, and which is free by the way. All of the transportation between like Disney parks to Disney resorts it's free. You literally just get on. Yeah, taking that little boat ride from Magic Kingdom to the Polynesian Resort where our restaurant was located, I mean, that was literally, it broke up the day so well, and it was so beautiful. And yeah. And this brings me to my closing statement in this video, something that I really need to share with you. It's Disney World, and you will be walking a lot. I think in our trip, we walked around 65 to 70 miles in the time that we were there till we left. We walked a ton, and the days are hot in Florida. I have to just take a minute and highly recommend that if you are going to be there for several consecutive days, how important it is to consider making those lunchtime reservations and finding restaurants that you can get into and make reservations to. Because while there is food all over the parks, because of the limited capacity, and also if it wasn't limited capacity, because of the number of people that are in Disney World's parks, it's very hard, very hard when you're eating to get an air-conditioned table anywhere. Half the time when we were eating at Disney World, you just have to either sit on the ground somewhere and eat, or you maybe, if you're lucky, you find a table, but it's hardly ever inside. It's always outside, even though it's not always the easiest thing to do because reservations are hard to come by. Find a couple of restaurants that you're interested in and fight for those midday reservations, because I just can't tell you how nice it is to, in the middle of the day when you are actually dying, to go somewhere and be able to sit down in an air-conditioned room and have some of the best food you've ever had. It would take us about 2.5 hours to finish a meal. Even just that 2.5 hours in the air conditioning sitting down, it gave my day so much more quality of life. I'm not even kidding. I would leave the days where we had midday reservations and feel so much happier and less cranky than I was on the days where we didn't have a reservation anywhere and we were just outside in the heat all day. All right, guys. Well, that's all of the food talk I have in me at the moment. Disney World is a big place. We had 8 days of eating there, so I could honestly sit here and talk for several hours on this topic. But I think for now, I gave you enough to think about. And if you are taking a Disney World vacation soon, I hope that some of these things sounded like something that would be right up your alley, and maybe you were able to make a note or two. If I remember, I'll screenshot it and put it in this video. But I had a whole note section in my phone for things that I wanted to try. So I would highly recommend doing that if you have an upcoming trip. Just start making little notes, because it was so satisfying after I would try something that I had on my list to just kind of check it off. Super fun. I hope that you're all having a great week, and whether you're going to Disney World sometime in the future or you're not, I think Disney can bring a little bit of happiness to everybody. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment, like if you want, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.
I think I'm just over it, or could it be